Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. So today we're taking a much needed break from Andor Season 2. It's been a while since I've covered general Star Wars updates, but since Star Wars Celebration came to an end, there haven't been too many. That is until today. We're taking a break from Andor to talk about some Star Wars movie news. And kicking things off, drumroll please, is Rian Johnson's trilogy. I wish I was joking my friends, but no, we actually have an update. I bet you didn't think we'd still be talking about that in 2025. For years and years now, Rian's been saying, I'm too busy to come back to Star Wars. It's definitely not got anything to do with the reception to The Last Jedi. Oh no. It's because I'm too busy with Knives Out, Glass Onion, and the upcoming third one, Wake Up Dead Man. And Kathleen Kennedy's been saying the same thing. When Rian Johnson decides that Star Wars is important enough to him, he will come back. I mean, let's be real here, guys. I don't think Disney would be very happy if Rian Johnson returned. Even if you like his movies, even if you're a fan of The Last Jedi, you can't deny the reception to Episode 8 was a real turning point for this franchise. But once again, Rian Johnson was asked about it, and his response was very telling. I don't even think he believes he's coming back. Oh my goodness, buckle up my friends, this is going to be a really fun video. And if you've not done so, make sure to hit the big subscribe button down below. Don't miss a video, I cover Star Wars every single day. So no more jibber jabber, let's dive in. This comes from The Independent. Rian Johnson finally answers the question, is he coming back to Star Wars? And what happened to his trilogy that was announced nearly a decade ago? This is the question they asked him. And I'm so glad they asked him this. A lot of journalists really shy away from it. Before we disconnect, I can't help but ask about another of Johnson's prospective projects. His own trilogy of Star Wars films, announced 6 weeks before The Last Jedi was released. My goodness, was it that long ago?
It's been 84 years.
The mooted movies never materialized, and updates have more or less dried up. And he replies, what happened? Knives Out. I kind of went down the murder mystery rabbit hole. I'm focused on making other stuff, but that wouldn't rule out it happening down the line. Now pay attention to the wording on this next sentence. If I get back in the Star Wars universe someday, I'd be the happiest person. If. Only a couple of years ago it was when. Now it's if. This phrasing is so telling, because we went from 2017, 2018 when he was saying, oh yeah, it's gonna happen, this trilogy of mine is coming, it's just a matter of logistics, to then being so busy and working on everything other than Star Wars, and now he's saying, if I come back. And I've seen the way some outlets have covered this. I don't doubt he's got a lot of projects going on, but let's be real here, guys. Had The Last Jedi been a major success, I don't mean box office wise, because it was in that sense. I'm talking about fan reception. If Episode 8 was unanimously praised, everyone loved it, there wasn't the major backlash we saw, and fans agreed it was the best movie Disney Star Wars could have produced. In 2025, at this point, we would have had 1 or 2 installments of Rian's trilogy by now. But it never happened, because Lucasfilm and Disney are not stupid, they know how fans responded to Episode 8. And I just can't see Disney approving Kathleen Kennedy bringing him back. Even if he makes a fantastic trilogy of films, it's just bad optics. For plenty of fans, the downhill trajectory of Star Wars began with The Last Jedi, and fans are not going to forget that. So if tomorrow Star Wars said, Rian Johnson's trilogy is back on the table, they're gonna start filming, no matter how good the premise is, many fans would be like, nope, from the word go. And you want to know the saddest thing about this? I think Rian Johnson's a good filmmaker. I really don't like the way he treated Luke in Episode 8, and I do think The Last Jedi was terrible for the Star Wars fandom, but I've seen some of his other work, and it's pretty good. Looper, Knives Out, Glass Onion. He knows how to write a solid murder mystery. Maybe instead of The Last Jedi, he should have done a Star Wars whodunit. But his ego and wanting to subvert expectations got in the way of what Episode 8 should have been. And look, I've always said, if you enjoy something I don't like, that is completely fine. You're welcome here in my community, we're all Star Wars fans. But when Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill, tells you, I fundamentally disagree with your direction of my character, you know something's wrong. If you wanted to do Luke as a recluse on an island, that would have been a fantastic what if. But it's really not what Episode 8 should have been. For all of the good stuff, like the cinematography, the visuals, the aliens, the locations they filmed at, Episode 8 was perceived as the biggest Disney Star Wars stumble. So look, Rian Johnson can keep postponing his trilogy all he wants, but I don't see it happening. And when Kathleen Kennedy steps down, I know the management is going to be largely the same, but there aren't as many people batting for him. Maybe Dave Filoni. I know him and Rian are very close. Filoni has said he's a mentor to him, but I think that would be terrible optics. I think the biggest problem with Rian Johnson's movie, and I've said this in the past, is he was given the most important middle installment of the sequel trilogy. for all of its flaws, fans were actually very excited after The Force Awakens. They wanted to know why Luke was on this island. What was he gonna do when Rey gave him his lightsaber? Well, he chucked it over his shoulder and, well, you know the rest. Rian's daring approach to writing and directing would have been put to better use in a separate project. Don't do it in the main Skywalker saga. He should have been put in charge of something like Dawn of the Jedi, or an Andor type of show. So moving on to some other Star Wars movie news, my dear friends, The Mandalorian and Grogu, the follow-up to The Mandalorian's third season, drops in cinemas this time next year, May 2026. And in light of this, the question of will there be a Mandalorian Season 4 has re-emerged. Jon Favreau previously said, it depends on how well the movie does. But now according to a brand new rumour from Daniel Richman, there won't be another season of the Disney Plus show, but if the movie does well, there will be a movie sequel to it. So according to this, the show isn't going to return to streaming. I don't know guys, I'm not convinced by this. My response would be, I don't even think Lucasfilm knows. Things change all the time. We know Jon Favreau has a separate treatment for Season 4, but in the same way the Mandalorian and Grogu movie was a very impromptu decision, we don't know if that fourth season is going to manifest in a separate spin-off series, if it's going to be the fourth season of the show, or if it's going to be a movie. I think all these rumours are just fan guesses. During a time where there isn't too much Star Wars news, it's very tempting to be convinced by these rumours. But the truth is, we don't know and they don't know. The way The Mandalorian and Grogu performs in the theatres is going to dictate everything. And even then, they might change their minds. A bit of good news for The Mandalorian and Grogu though is that Avengers Doomsday has been moved from May 1st to December 18th. This allows The Mandalorian and Grogu to breathe. While the delay allows Marvel Studios to focus on overall quality, I would say this has a greater positive impact on the Star Wars franchise. I honestly don't know how The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to perform. I've seen both optimistic and pessimistic projections. There are some who say because Star Wars hasn't had a film since The Rise of Skywalker, this is going to be a big moment, especially for casual fans. Not to mention the popularity of Grogu as a character. But on the other hand, there are those who say this is not the right Star Wars movie to return to the big screen with. And I guess the box office will put to rest the question of if after Season 3 The Mandalorian is well and truly dead. But we have some other exciting Star Wars movies coming down the line, like Star Wars Starfighter with Ryan Gosling. That isn't until 2027, but if we're being honest, that should have been the first Star Wars movie to return with after The Rise of Skywalker. Chronologically it makes sense, it's fresh, it has no connections to other TV shows, and you have the appeal of Ryan Gosling. Now we seem to have spoken quite a lot about Ryans today, whether it's Rian Johnson, Ryan Gosling, well how about a third? Ryan Reynolds. Apparently he pitched an R-rated Star Wars film to Disney, and they very quickly said, no thank you, next. I think we dodged another bullet, because I don't like his humour. I'm sorry, I just don't, and I don't think it would work well in the Star Wars universe. During a recent interview with Scott Mendelsohn, Reynolds shared his audacious idea. He said, quote, I pitched a film to Disney. I said, why don't we do an R-rated Star Wars property? It doesn't have to be overt, A+ characters. There's a wide range of characters you could use. The closest we've had is Andor. We don't know any specifics about Reynolds' pitch, but from the sounds of things, Lucasfilm really didn't like it. Reynolds also complains that Star Wars and Lucasfilm don't do anything too daring or quote, surprising, and it seems like he wanted to bring something new to the table. I guess we'll never know. So those are the updates, the movie updates for today, my dear friends. What do you make of them? Are you surprised? Rian Johnson's trilogy, do you want to see it happen? Let me know in the comments down below.